My research into sword making in India, it led me to articles on ancient India's steel manufacturing. And the Upanishads teach us that permanent fulfillment can only be achieved when we understand there is another dimension, a deeper dimension to us. Hi everyone, I'm Gitanjali Murari, the author of the fantasy adventure The Crown of Seven Stars, which was published last year by Penguin India. Seven Stars, it began as a short note, just a one-pager. And it introduced the key characters and gave a slight idea of the plot. That was it. And I wrote this one-pager like quite a few years ago. And frankly, I didn't know at that time where I wanted to go with it. I had a vague inkling that I wanted to tell a story about an ambitious person or persons who, in their race to achieve their goals, destroy everything that is good, even the supportive environment that has helped them become who they are. And in my life, I had witnessed this kind of egoistic behavior many times. And I wanted this fantasy story to be an analogy for my experiences. Anyway, while I was still thinking through this, at a personal level, I had already started questioning the definition of success. Many times I wanted to slow down, at my job, take stock, but I carried on, as we all do. But then came the diagnosis of a very severe illness. I had always enjoyed good health, and so this diagnosis came as a very big shock. It forced me to take a step back, slow down, and I realized however much I may think that things are in my control, they really were not. And at the same time, I did not like the feeling of powerlessness, being under control of a supernatural power like destiny or fate. And this was the start of my spiritual journey. My father had already introduced my sisters and me to Vedanta at a very early age, and especially the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. So, but somewhere in the pursuit of my career, I had sort of drifted away from it. But now I turned to it almost, with a vengeance. And I became a serious student. And as my studies advanced, I began to understand that what I was really looking for was real freedom. I had financial freedom, freedom to live my life the way I wanted to do. Yet I realized these freedoms were only a pale imitation of the one that is the freedom of all freedoms. And that freedom comes when the mind is in perfect control. So that's what I realized, that I needed my mind to be in control of me, not the other way around. I'm yet to reach this goal, but certain baby steps have been taken. And this, as a consequence, as a result, brings happiness and strength. So, when I started to see all this, I felt compelled to share this, with the world. And so I went back to that one pager and I realized that this is what was missing, this particular aspect. And then it took me all of 4 years to write it all out. Okay, see, the entire theme of the book is based on freedom. How we can be free from our destiny or fate and how to take full control of our lives. This is the message of the Upanishads. Indian philosophy teaches only one thing. How do you optimize your human life and lead a fulfilled existence? And the Upanishads teach us that permanent fulfillment can only be achieved when we understand there is another dimension, a deeper dimension to us, which is other than this mind and body, that we believe to be the real us. And this is, exactly what the book is all about. So it is extremely relevant. Like most of us, both Chakravaru and Ashwath are a product of their circumstances. When the book begins, that's what they are. And like many of us, they at first remain slaves to their circumstances, but then later they try to overcome them, realizing their great mistake, in allowing circumstances to be more powerful than them. I try and follow Ray Bradbury, the science fiction writer. I try to follow his advice, which is that write every day, even if it's just a line. I don't have a particular time for writing, and I think that's where I lack discipline. Uh, but what I try is to write every day, and as Ernest Hemingway has said, try and write one true sentence every day. And what I've discovered is that trying to write this one true sentence can take me an entire day. But the attempt is there. So there are days when I'm unable to write, but the whole intention is, yes, to write every day. It begins with, our own mythology. I don't want to term it as fantasy, but because there are people who believe it is itihas, history, but it is our mythology. So, I'm beginning with the Puranic tales, Indian folklore, then the books of Ray Bradbury, C.S. Lewis, Lord of the Rings, of course, Harry Potter series, Tales from Arabian Nights, the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. So I have many favorites. Absolutely. It was a very natural process because I've grown up, as I said, reading mythologies and Puranas and Indian folk tales. But since you mentioned swords, I'd like to share here that my research into sword making in India, there's quite a bit of research that I have done actually in the book. So my research into sword making in India, it led me to articles on ancient India's steel manufacturing. And, what's amazed me was, somewhere in Tamil Nadu, a certain kind of steel was produced, which was known for its tensile strength and flexibility. And it was called the Hinduvani steel. And it was exported to Mesopotamia, and it became famous as Damascus steel. And at the time of smelting and, quenching the steel, a strange pattern would form. Which I have used. I've used this detailing in describing the protagonist's sword in The Crown of Seven Stars. And it is also said that swords made with this steel could pierce iron, which is again another fact that I have used in the book. I think it's fantastic. It gives anyone who loves to write or who has a story to tell another option apart from traditional book publishing. Of course, there's one catch. I feel, this is a personal opinion, that for self-publishing, you have to also be very good at marketing and selling. The rock bands that I regularly listen to are Bon Jovi, U2, Scorpions, I haven't as yet explored the new rock bands. But when I was writing the last war scene in the book, I listened to Blaze of Glory by Bon Jovi, like on a loop. And it gave me the energy, the emotions that I needed to infuse in that scene. And similarly, there's this character, of a boy called Prem, who is, despite, facing a lot of tragedies, he's always very full of hope. So there is a sad, sorrowful hope about him and an innocence about him. So, when I was writing one scene about him, I listened to Scorpions' Winds of Change. So, which again, I felt captured, what I needed for that particular scene. And, the words just started flowing. I haven't as yet thought about it, but I think it's a great idea because there's so much in it in terms of, there are so many different kingdoms. And apart from Sahas, there are other characters who are very, very interesting. And, there could be this, I think every book going forward could be about a particular kingdom and how it came to be and, their own story. Like, for example, Swaras, which is a kingdom which is kind of shrouded in mystery. And I think there could be a whole book about it.